Hi, my name is Chris Drake. I'm the head of product and strategy with the RevTrak team. And today's video, I want to discuss some of the on-premise end-of-life consequences, particularly for organizations that are using Solution Manager and Charm. So like all on-premise products, Solution Manager and Charm are nearing end of life, being 2027, and extended maintenance can be delivered until 2030 for an additional cost. So now organizations face a decision about how they are going to progress with their change and request management given the end of life. It seems organizations using Solution Manager Charm have three obvious decisions about how they're going to proceed. The first is the successor, SAP Cloud ALM. The second might be going into a best of breed strategy with tools like ServiceNow, something like RevTrak, and other complementary ALM products. And the third, of course, is to just stay on Charm for as long as possible. So throughout this video, I'm going to take you through those three common pathways and how RevTrak can actually help with each of them. So the key decision factors for organizations will include things like the timelines for their RISE or S4 migration journey, how dependent they are for regulatory or compliance needs within Charm, some of the integrations they might be dependent on with other ITSM and DevOps solutions, and of course, their budget and tolerance for risk. So let's explore approach number one, which is moving directly to SAP Cloud ALM. Cloud ALM is designed for cloud-focused customers and is designed for relatively simple environments. Charm, by contrast, was able to cater for very complex and large estates. Some organizations might find that SAP Cloud ALM doesn't yet have the change deployment management capabilities that a large organization would expect. In this case, RevTrak, coupled with SAP Cloud ALM, can help to deliver a strong sense of governance, compliance, and manage very complex hybrid landscapes. So let's explore how RevTrak can help you in your journey to SAP Cloud ALM. Our organization prides ourselves on RevTrak being the market leader in automation when it comes to SAP change deployment. We make sure that there is as little administration as possible required, and administration is done by exception only. This allows for organizations to be able to react quickly and not spend time on admin and oversight when it comes to delivering change. This gives you agility so you can take care of business needs and market demands at pace and without worrying about governance and compliance getting in the way. They simply become a byproduct of moving change quickly. So one of the amazing things Charm did offer, as is a hallmark of SAP throughout the years, is the fact that it was on a single tenant environment called Solution Manager, and then Charm could basically be customized however organizations wanted. This meant obviously any approval process, any level of governance, compliance, and automation could be achieved. But this was done through customization, normally through developers, and that was a lot of heavy lifting that did become hard to support. However, with Cloud ALM being a multi-tenant cloud solution, the customization is lower. So for complex environments, there is no tailoring or bespoking of the Cloud ALM solution to be able to cater for the complexity. So because RevTrak is an ABAP built solution, it has not just a tight integration with TMS for the deployment layer, but it also has a very tight integration with NetWeaver and the ABAP layer. So RevTrak is able to assess what is inside of a transport and then dynamically determine how that transport and that piece of code or the object inside of the transport should be handled. It allows for fully flexible and bespoke workflows and approval steps. We can derive appropriate approvers if we need to. We can also make sure that the code goes to the appropriate place if it has to, similar to cross-landscape distribution or some of the other rich features that you've seen inside of Charm. The benefit, of course, is RevTrak is API enabled, and we can then put our fully flexible workflow, align it with the Cloud ALM feature, and then make sure that the feature has oversight to any level of complexity that is happening down at the SAP landscape level for the change deployment and the approvals, and of course the governance and compliance as well. We know organizations today are not consuming Cloud ALM or not fully adopting and embracing it because they are very dependent on some of the capabilities and that heavy level of compliance that Charm could offer them. So they are ultimately going to be forced to keep Solution Manager up for as long as possible so that they can exploit the capabilities of Charm. RevTrak does offer an alternative here where RevTrak can actually meet all the expectations that Charm was able to deliver and allow for organizations to immediately start consuming the full capabilities of SAP's Cloud ALM with the feature and the deployment capabilities empowered by RevTrak. The benefit you're going to get when coupling RevTrak with the Cloud ALM feature is you can have any level of governance you need and derive any level of approvals from as many people as you want, as many layers deep as you need to. You will be fully audit compliant, you'll be fully safe and secure, and make sure that you're not having those P1s in production. And you will also have the oversight and traceability sitting in Cloud ALM's dashboards. So Cloud ALM will be delivering some retrofit capabilities in the foreseeable future. It is going to have what I would consider a light touch to retrofit and be able to synchronize the transports. Where RevTrak will go a little bit further is to actually have a transformation solution in place. It'll do ECC versus S4 suitability checks. It'll do downgrade protection in flight to make sure that ECC change is not overriding S4 change. And it'll also make sure that that work order is sitting there so that any change, or objects I should say, that haven't been introduced into the S4 environment can be analyzed and a suitable alternative approach can be built manually into the S4 system to make sure that there is continuity after the S4 go live. So as organizations start on their S4 journey, I believe they really should have a catalog of every single change that's been done in their S4 systems available for them in SAP Cloud ALM. From the first transport ever created through to BAU in 10 years' time, where they're just making minor adjustments to the system to keep it operational. The value here is a blueprint for everything that's ever been done, and that is done through the traceability in SAP Cloud ALM, and you'll get a history of every change that's been deployed. For organizations who can't leverage Cloud ALM for this digital transformation, we highly recommend using RevTrak to perform the synchronization. RevTrak can handle the ECC BAU and then perform the retrofit, and once the retrofit has been done, it'll create a work order notifying SAP Cloud ALM of what was introduced to the environment, and can also use features to determine additional changes that need to be adjusted to get the full change synchronized into the system where retrofit wasn't able to deliver everything. So the second approach is the best of breed approach. This would typically be for organizations that have a lot of different applications, maybe not all SAP focused. And then they'd be finding solutions, ITSM for example, that can cover all of their technology stack. These organizations will be using different pieces of technology to cover their ALM needs for each technology stack. In this case, RevTrak can act as the orchestration tool for all of the SAP ALM needs. This allows for a tight level of control over governance, automation of deployment, and of course safety when it comes to delivering SAP change across organizations that have very large and not necessarily exclusively SAP landscapes. So as an SAP DevOps automation platform, RevTrak is able to offer organizations in the best of breed space tight integrations with tool sets like ServiceNow and Showell, backlog management tools like Jira or Azure DevOps, security tools like Onapsis, and of course test automation tools like Tosca and Worksoft. By plugging all of these tools into RevTrak, we are then enforcing the utilization and the progression of change based on good outputs and results from these solutions. So the third approach is to ultimately stay with SAP Charm. Now, we understand not all companies can move because they might have very tight and complex processes. There might be a cost saving in continuing with the status quo until they're ready to make the transition to cloud products. But at the end of the day, this is time limited. Support will be ending in 2027 or 2030, depending on the organization's extended maintenance contracts. There is an additional cost associated with hosting that Solution Manager instance, which of course can be considered as part of the future change when finding an alternative solution. In many ways, these organizations have the benefit because they will have time to prepare for a stable approach to how they find their next solution. It is worth considering the hosting costs of Solution Manager can be quite high, certainly as part of a RISE journey. So for these organizations, consider us as part of a strategic approach to the next generation of your change management strategy for SAP. So no matter your journey, whether you're going to Cloud LM as soon as possible, whether you're looking at a best of breed approach, or even if you're looking to stay on Solution Manager Charm for as long as possible and then take a strategic approach to your next chapter in SAP change management, RevTrack can help. So find us at revtrack.com.